This is an action item. Do we have a motion?
I would move that the Board of Education of Weld County School District 6 approve the contract with SchoolCity, Inc. for a comprehensive benchmark assessment and management system not to exceed $118,012.50 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Do we have any discussion on Mr. Haefele?
I appreciate the efforts that you've had. I still struggle with, I don't think you've articulated well the needs of the staff. And I understand that they are there. I will vote for this tonight, but I would like to see them better represented, because when I look at this report, I see administration as opposed to the staff. Thank you.
Mr. Hall?
I'm a little unclear on the numbers. Your PowerPoint said that year one was 118 and year two is 95, where the budget authorization is actually that we sign is 118,000 up front, which I assume is the 15-16 school year budget.
It is the for next year implementation, 15,
It's being paid out of next year's budget?
No, it is out of this year's budget. We pay that so that we are able to populate all of our data as we go through the summer months, and then we are ready to be ready when teachers come back in August. So we always budget for the next year assessment system out of the prior year's budget, and that's been our cycle for several years.
Okay, so then your year two number, because it's a 3-year contract, it states in your documentation it's a 3-year contract?
It states that, but it's really a year-to-year contract. They put the 3 years in there, and the reason for that is, well, the option is for year-to-year. If in fact we would like to remove ourselves from the contract. The reason for putting that language in there is to get a better pricing from the partners that they have with the different companies. But yes, it is stated 3 years. We have the option to go year to year on the contract.
We have the option to go year to year.
After 3 years?
No, at the starting, each year is a year-to-year contract.
That is correct.
It's a 3-year contract, but the district has an option to renew or deny.
I can't hear you over here, I'm sorry.
No, I think that the description is that it's a 3-year option for the district, so we can guarantee pricing for 3 years, but we can stop the contract annually. So it's basically 3 consecutive options for the district.
Okay, so we've exercised the first option for the 95. So for the first year of service, it's actually costing us $300,000 or $200,000. 200,000.
No, for year one it will be 100.
You've got the 118 and the 95 for the first year's assessment.
No. The first year is 118, which includes professional development and training, and then the second year is actually less.
That's what I'm trying to figure out, is when is the second year starting, because 118 is this budget year right now that we're in.
For the 15-16 implementation, and then what we wanted to share with you is that was the upfront. That's the year one implementation cost, which includes the professional development and initial setup, and then an annual. It will drop in year 2, 3, 4, and ongoing, and it will always come before the board and for approval. And yearly, then those annual costs will be at approximate $95,512. But that will come before the board each year, and that will not come until next year.
So the $95,000 by year 2 will come before the board next year?
Correct. For the 16-17 implementation.
16-17 year. Okay.
Yes.
That's because the expenditure sheet is not clear.
I apologize. That should not be confusing, so I apologize for that. Thank you. So I asked, or Julie.
I was just listening just to speak on behalf of the staff and teachers, and good evening, board, and I don't know how to address it.
Introduce yourself. You just jumped right in. Introduce yourself.
Julie Williford, and I teach at Dos Rios, and
there you go.
being on like district curriculum council and other data growth model committees and the assessment committee for part of this, for part of the meetings, it had a lot of staff members input, and so I just wanted to voice that opinion of, I felt like it was a lot of teachers and staff. So to clear up that confusion, that's what I wanted to do.
All right, well, thank you, Julie. Thanks for sharing. She has been on many different committees, and so when hearing that, I know she just wanted to be able to share with you and put anything that you might feel at rest in terms of having staff input. Certainly, it does take many people, and we want to address all of those concerns, so.
Mr. Eads.
Yes, just to fill in, I understood your question is when's the next time the bill is coming due, and it's about a year from now. So I think that was answered finally. Non-appropriations language is pretty typical in a multi-year contract. So if the board chooses not to appropriate the money, it automatically gets the district out of that obligation. That way we don't have to reserve the money for the entire length of the contract. So the board always has the option with most of these multi-year contracts to non-appropriate the money. And then I think, John, in response to your question, there is a lot of information on the continuation sheets, and we didn't provide them all filled out, but it does ask very specifically, does the teacher have the ability to create, schedule, administer, classroom-based assessments, to edit, view, and search for performance-based tasks. So there was a lot of feedback from teachers as they went through these, and we could provide you with the filled-out detail sheets if you'd like to see those, so you could get a better feel for how much teacher input
No,
there was.
and that's not my point. When I asked the questions last week, they weren't articulated well to me, and I still struggle with that. I mean, I asked for the top 5 things why teachers wanted this, and nobody could tell me what they were, and that's where my frustration is. I don't doubt, I know that Julie and all the people worked hard at it, but I just want to make sure that those things are voiced so everybody hears them.
Well, we really, in our outreach sessions with teachers, President DeWitt and I heard a lot of how important some of these features were to teachers. So when we worked with this group to set up those tasks, we really said impact on teachers, teacher workload were really very important factors as this group evaluated it. So I just wanted to be sure that that was understood.
I'm not questioning that.
Okay, thank you.
At all.
Dr. Richard?
Yeah, and just a thank you to the teachers that were a part of that and that gave feedback to that. Even last week, we heard from teachers about that idea of the usability of being able to get data in a form that's helpful, having an intuitive process that would help them get it faster. And so I agree. I thank you for the process that you did to collect this information. We know that we have to invest in assessments because they are at the core of what teachers do, and we've got a later policy piece that refers to assessments, and to have an updated assessment system is really key to helping our teachers do what they need to do, so thank you for that.
Logan?
Yep, straight through.
You know, and I really hope that this is not an administrative-driven set of testing. I really hope that we continue to listen to our staff, so that when we do these tests, that they have a say, so that it matches both the state and our expectations. And I think it's real important that we don't negate that. And I hope that occurs when you do all of our planning next week, the next 10 days, please.
Yes.
Any other comments or questions? Thank you for the Doug, just popped up, sorry.
I thought I hit the switch on. Anyway, I want to applaud the process as well, and I am excited about this tool and this technology for our teachers, and the process that you went through for selecting, and not, really delving into the depth of what these tools would offer, but then having the presentation afterwards was very wise and very practical. And then also spending the time with the product. So I'm very optimistic and excited to see how it serves us next year.
Yes. Assessment is not always the most popular topic by far, and so we definitely hear exactly.
And our teachers' ability to teach is what matters.
Absolutely.
We test them to death,
I know.
and
Yep.
We need to celebrate our educators and allow them to teach as much as possible. And I don't want this to burden them with
No.
more testing, because
No.
it makes me crazy.
It does. It makes us all crazy, and I completely understand what you're saying, and so it really does need to be a tool. And I will tell you that as I sat through, I was only a part of the final 2 meetings, and listening to the teachers talk about that this needed to be user-friendly, it needed to be easy, short cycle data, not 50-question tests. That's not what they were looking for. They were looking for data that they could get easily and quickly, and that's right in line with their instruction, which is why this assessment system, honestly, was the one that bubbled to the very top. And I think you could see even from the teacher comments, they said, really, both of the assessment systems were good. But this one was by far better because of its usability, its friendliness to all of our teachers, no matter what the grade or the content that they taught. So it's always in how we implement, and it is always in making sure that they are the ones that are driving the implementation of that. And so recognizing the challenges and certainly the things from the past as we move forward, I think we can definitely do better, and we can implement using this system in ways that are best for kids.
In a year, what I hope to hear is that I want to hear from our educators, and they say, you know what, this assisted my teaching.
Right.
And if that's what I hear in a year, I'll be delighted by that. But until that point, I'm going to be a little cynical.
Okay.
I do want to say that in our last meeting that certainly listening to teachers really very critical. And so I get what you're saying. We definitely want to step back because we want them to use the system. I think that was one of the concerns they had before. This one has its easeability. The focus is around their unit assessment. They came back with a recommendation to make sure that we focus on assessments that are tied to their units so that they are using that data. They can create pre-assessments from the assessment banks inside of this. And I think it has a robust bank. And so I'm really confident that teachers will use this, and they will use it to inform their instruction, which I think is primary for all of our decision making.
Ms. Solis.
I guess my suggestion would be, I mean, these teachers put in so much effort, if maybe they can be at the table with you, presenting to us and kind of giving us feedback from their point of view. Just so, I mean, it was a very big joint effort. And so to have both there and just really hearing, okay, this was my concern as a teacher, and this is how it meets my need. And so I would really recommend making sure that we have teachers not only in the discussion, but at the presentation too. So if we have any questions specifically for them, they're there for us to ask.
Thank you again. Any further comments, questions? Ms. Berea, may we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. Hafley,
Aye.
Mr. Hall,
Aye.
Mr. Lydiak,
Aye.
Dr. Richard,
Aye.
Mr. Richardson,
Aye.
Mrs. Solis,
Aye.
and the motion carries 6-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You can clap, it's okay. Assessment, all right. Next on our agenda is item H, under administration, is the 2015-2016 Consolidated Application. And this is presented by Kathy Van Soest, Executive Director of Student Support Services.
Good evening. I'm here to present the consolidated application for the federal programs of Title I, Title II, and Title III for your approval this evening. It has been 50 years ago that our United States legislators in Congress passed, soon after the Civil Rights era, special funding for schools that had a high number of students from a low socioeconomic need. This law was called the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, and soon many different presidents called it by a catchy name, and the latest catchy name that has been most recent in its passing is the No Child Left Behind of 2001. Generally speaking, this law passes and has a new name under different presidents, but it has stayed the same since 2001. And the subgroups that were added and the accountability measures that we see in ESEA 2001 were from looking at the subgroups of free and reduced lunch, English learners, students with an IEP, and minority subgroups. Because it's been such a long stretch where the law has not been reauthorized, we have asked for a federal waiver as guided by our federal government. The latest federal waiver is being applied for right now. The latest one before that was in 2012, where we could use our own accreditation system as an accountability replacement for the laws that were created, the accountability system created in No Child Left Behind in 2001. So how does this funding work? It's a very complex funding. The Title I allocations are based on US Census data from 3 years ago. And then the US Department of Ed calculates this in a series of several funding sources: basic funding, concentration funding, targeted, NEFIG, which is Educational Finance Incentive Grants, also awarded directly to the local education agencies. So what this means is the federal government determines what our Greeley-Evans District 6 title allocations will be. And it bases it on the federal poverty level and then the number of 5 to 17-year-olds within our district. So the entitlement funding categories have shrunk in recent years. We now have Title I and Title II and Title III that are included in this. Title I is reading and math support for schools that serve large numbers of students from a low economic status. Title II is to support the hiring and retaining of highly qualified staff, and Title III is English language acquisition. So Title I is the very largest federal program. Its purpose is to help schools with high needs overcome learning barriers of their students and promote the educational excellence for those disadvantaged students. So here are our Title I schools of the year. First, the district has the responsibility of selecting the criteria for qualification. And the criteria this year will be 74% free lunch and higher. And so these designated schools are in rank order of the percent of free. As you will notice, we have separated Romero K-8 into 2 groups and Salida del Sol K-8 into 2 groups, and this is because of federal regulations to keep those separate. They each have to qualify for whatever the criteria is that the district has set. So you see Maplewood Elementary has the very highest percent of free lunch, and Prairie Heights Middle School has a very high percent as well, but the lowest in this rank order. And then what we do to create their allocation is we determine a per student amount of funding, and then we allocate the money in that way. So then title and non-public schools. We have 4 private schools in our community: St. Mary's, Dayspring, Trinity Lutheran, and the Seventh-day Adventist schools. Private schools may decline the funding or they may accept the funding. In our case, St. Mary's Catholic School accepted Title I, accepted Title II, and any of their teachers can attend the professional learning through the Greeley-Evans School District 6 summer program around the English learning courses that are offered. Dayspring turned down Title I, declined Title I, but they did accept Title II and Title III. They signed paperwork in order for us to keep these records. Then our charter schools. We give money to our charter schools. Frontier, University, Union Colony, and Westridge charter schools do not meet the criteria set for Title I. but they all do meet and do accept Title II. They also may attend the professional learning through our summer program. Salida del Sol, however, qualifies and accepts Title I funding as well as Title II and Title III. So how can these Title I funds be spent? They must be supplementary. This is a very key piece to this law. The federal funds may only use to provide additional things to our schools, additional teachers like interventionists, additional materials like intervention materials that we would have, anything that is considered in addition to what all schools get. So this year in the Consolidated Application, like many years past, we have put our funding towards all-day kindergarten teachers, instructional coaches, and interventionists, also to professional development materials for intervention materials, extended learning opportunities, meaning after-school programming as well as summer programming, and parent engagement and partnering with our parents, providing education for them as well in our partnership with them. Student data guides this work, and the schools write their own plans to determine how they will spend their funding. We also have required set-asides under the No Child Left Behind reauthorization of the ESEA. We have administrative and indirect costs. We have school choice, supplemental educational services, parent involvement, and homeless education services. All these are required. We set aside funding out of our Title I for each of these purposes. So Title I schools identified from the previous year as being in priority improvement or turnaround must offer these two programs, school choice and SES. The parents help us determine how we spend our supplemental education opportunities in our school district. And parents are given a school choice letter, and they're given an SES letter in order to sign up for the extra services provided, or to change schools if they so choose, and to receive busing to that new school. We also have a very top-notch program, but very much a part of Title I is parent involvement. The parents are engaged in goal setting for each of the schools. The parents prepare to be partners in our parent education meetings, our PEM meetings we call for short. Each Title I school has at least 5 of these parent education meetings every year. We also provide English as a second language courses for our parents, as well as technology courses in some schools. We encourage our parents to participate as school parent leaders, and we try our very best to help with communicating and sharing and celebrating with our parent groups. Title II is about supporting for hiring and retaining of highly qualified staff. Each year we have to calculate our highly qualified status in a December 1 Human Resources report. And so mostly, almost 100% this year, except for one teacher that left our system in December, we were 100% highly qualified district-wide. And so then we are able to use this $644,000 for instructional coaching and professional development. But one of the things around this law is that the professional development must be ongoing, not just a one-shot time to receive that training. Title III we use in our district supplementary with the newcomer program at all 3 levels, housed at Greeley West and John Evans Middle School, soon to be Prairie Heights, as well as Centennial Elementary. Then we also use it for professional development. It is less than $300,000 now in that category. Each year it goes down quite a bit. It maintained this year a little bit better for us, and we're pleased about that. I would be glad to answer any questions that you might have.